All right. Good morning. Good morning. You might hear Orlando a little bit in the background. He's on the balcony, so he's doing some howling. We had some morning rain. So this is March 24th, 2024. Wow. Interesting little combination of numbers there. Um, oh, let me take this off here. Huh. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Um, shoot. I don't know if you can see that. Oh no, I've got it on that. Okay, good. Um, it's funny, but I don't see that there. That's weird. Okay, I'm just going over something here. uh, anyway, hello, good morning. If you are tuning in right now, okay, let me stop. Oh, hold on. Well, it's not going to start on time, so I'm going to have to like play it more than once. But this is a little video that I uploaded. I took pictures of the last few days of the semester, the last day that I was on campus, and I snapped some of these photos and put it to a TikTok video, which I re-uploaded to YouTube. So I'll go ahead and play that a little bit. What some of those photos are. I'm getting one step close. Here, I'll stop that there. What some of the photos are of setting up for Cesar Chavez, honoring Cesar Chavez, because Cesar Chavez is a really big deal here in the Central Valley, because a lot of the migrant farm workers were part of the unionization of the farm workers that took place, and so that's really rich in the history here. And so you can see how they were having a presentation later on that day. I took one of the pictures of the musicians that was setting up. They were going to be performing later that afternoon, and I didn't stay. I mean, I was done with my classes, and I had other things that I had assignments I had to take care of and work I had to go to, because I tutor up until the spring break, which the spring break officially started yesterday. So I'm just kind of relaxing right now and decompressing from getting this far into the semester. But it just was some of the photos that I took on campus, especially the flowers blooming, because we do have spring happening, and it really is a beautiful campus that's at Fresno State. Just the water fountain, and there's just so many. I mean, the library that the one with the mirror, like the windows reflect what's on the other side. That big long circular, not circular, but kind of goes all the way down. That's our library, and it's amazing. It's an amazing library. So I just took those pictures. One of the pictures that stood out to me the most, and I actually shared it on my here we go. Put this over here. I shared it on my community page. It just, right in the morning, I was going to my first class, which is at 8 a.m. in the morning. Well, that's a killer. That's like one of the earliest classes I think I'm ever going to want to go to, but it was the only time that I was able to take the class, and it's one of my GE requirements, so I have to get it done. So anyway, I'm going to do a screen share. Hi, Pootie Twang. Good morning. So I'm gonna do a screen share on what I photographed. I love photographing interesting things. Now, this is, of course, you're gonna see a selfie of me last night. This is not what I'm talking about, but this is my announcement of spring break. Okay, so actually colored my hair a little bit last night, but this photograph doesn't show the pink as much, but I'm going to be playing around with that. I'm going to get another toner and maybe go a little more peachy on things. But anyway, and this is a picture I took of Orlando. Matter of fact, Orlando just jumped up here right now. Hey, baby. And yesterday I was at, or maybe it was Friday, I was in the grocery store and I saw this beautiful, I just love the color of this flower plant. And so I stuck it in the windowsill. And then, of course, or you know how cats are, they want to go and explore everything. And so at first, I was hoping I would get a picture of him sniffing it, which he was, but I missed that moment in setting up my camera. So I was able to take that one there. Okay, this is something that, I guess, oh yeah, that's right. This is something that I found this new guy, Felion, about this woman that decided that she was going to make a storm shelter in her suburban neighborhood, and it's just crazy. And I think the host is really funny. So, you know, if you follow me on my channel and you go down and look at my community page, I'm actually wanting to just share things like, hey, I've been looking at this. I might mirror it. I might mirror it later on today. I don't know, at some point. But anyway, if you want to look for interesting things or things that I'm looking at pertaining to you know, what we talk about, and this one I thought was interesting, you can read what's going on there, right? And yeah, you know, I might be sharing videos from people that, you know, I've had problems with, or maybe I have conflict with, but it's really about the information. So this is the picture that I think is one of my best in that little trio, and I'm gonna try to click onto it here. Who is Jesus? And it was just this board that people signed and, you know, wrote who they thought Jesus was. And it's really interesting. And there's a backside to it. But I really like this photo, and I really like the fact that it's on a college campus, because you know, a lot of people think that it, like, whatever's being taught in college, or you know, there's this, I don't know, like a narrow-minded view that you know, the youth is not coming up with any type of you know, they don't talk about Jesus, or there aren't believers in Jesus. And yet in a way, on a campus that allows free speech, this is a pretty considerably a revolutionary act in a different way. And so I saw it, and it was early in the morning, and I photographed it. And if you look at the photo really closely, here's the library over here on the left. And you know, okay, and then you see a guy who is on a scooter here in motion, and then you have a person walking here. And I like the fact I actually waited before snapping it to get people in the photo, because, and again, you don't see their identity. I mean, I didn't want to expose anybody or anything like this, right? But it's, whenever you take a picture of like a landmark, it's more interesting if you see activity around it. Like if you're taking any type of structural building, or the people in the shot matter. That's part of, like, it would not be as interesting if you eliminated the people in the photo. So anyway, you know, I like doing things like this. I mean, I think even going to school, right, has made me better at it. on social media, and I shared it. Uh, I shared it on social media, on Instagram and different places. I'm thinking about doing a little photo essay. I mean, like maybe some of the graphics I showed in the video, the TikTok video. I have other ones that I might choose for the photo essay because and be more specific, but I might do a photo essay of the final days before spring break on campus. Just pictures that I took that day around. So yeah, anyway, good morning. And again, welcome to I'm going to post what Pootie Twang says. Jesus is the biggest double-edged sword in 2,000 plus years. Yeah. Well, right now too is the time to be thinking that we think about Jesus. Or hi, Paul Shields, welcome. Because of we're coming upon Easter. Now we know that this time is also it's all been blended, right, with the eggs and fertility and Esther and all of that stuff that happened during Constantine's rule. The blending of everything together at certain equinoxes, I suppose, or things that are time periods. But also, you have the story of the resurrection of Jesus, and the thought that that our soul or who we are is eternal or can be eternal. The thing that's interesting, I think, that I look at differently is since we're talking about Jesus, the persecution that Jesus went through, and how he was so hated upon, and then what happened with Judas, and everything, and his crucifixion, and then the witnessing of him being alive still. These are stories that, if you're living, it's known worldwide, whether it's believed or not. There have been certain films made of the story. And, with whatever director is making that movie, right? However it's cast. Usually, when you see Jesus, you have white Jesus, right? And so, there was, white actors playing who Jesus was. In a way, if you're looking at movies and things that maybe we're going to watch at this time, right? I think that, I'm in film too right now. So even when you're making documentaries, there's a certain, I don't know, maybe just a way of doing it that you tell a story that has to be told that way, present it a certain way, that some people might say, well, that's not exactly how it happened. But if you were to film exactly how it happened without footage after footage after footage, you would get like these huge, boring, dead spots. As the viewer, you go, please just get to the point, right? Pootie Twang says, I find the whole story from Genesis to Revelation extremely depressing. Oh, yes, today is Palm Sunday. Yeah. So, I really, when I was thinking about like what I was going to talk about today, I didn't think I was going to get as into, the topic of Jesus. But what I like the most about what he taught out of any part of the Bible was the love and forgiveness, and really just a guide of how to live a life that would honor God, but also, in a sense, is, the best for others, not just yourself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule. Like, to me, that's like, when I think about Jesus, I think about the golden rule. Like, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's a really big, that's a big statement, a big thought, because in the end, you have, you need to have, that means that you take responsibility for, what you do to others. Like, is what I'm doing to others, like, correct? Is it, am I living the golden rule? And I haven't, like, when I say this to myself, obviously, that would be up for debate, right? Have I, maybe not in every instance, but it matters to me. And I think that it's something that I want to do, is to live the golden rule. However, also part of what you would consider being, what people consider to be what, like, Christian or walking the path, or, if you're going to go into spiritual warfare or something, any of those types of topics, there's also passages in the Bible that, I've given you the power to stomp on snakes, and that you are required to shed light on what is not right and what is deceptive for us or for people, or something that, maybe we have been deceived by. And no, that really gets into, our justice systems, and, our media, reporting, journalism, all of those types of situations. Okay, so, and, I'm glad you guys are commenting on this, because after practicing Easter, oops, my little one smacked my phone. Let me see. Okay, I'm just let this be here. So, but okay, interesting. Okay. Okay, after practicing Eastern philosophy for decades, Christ came and just held me a while. Meditating, I stopped everything I did prior and realized that he does save. I never understood that prior. Thank you for sharing that here, Lanessa. Okay. Okay, that's okay. I'm cool with you saying that, Pootie Twang. Okay, because that Lucifer and Jesus are both called the morning star in the Bible. There is a belief and that they're the same person. Like, oh well, they're the same person, but I don't agree with that, because the story, to my understanding, Lucifer is a fallen angel. And so, but if you want to get into, like, the there's so many arguments about this. I mean, we're really at the apex again because we end up being here all the time, right? In this conversation. Um, when you look at one of the things that I've been learning, and again, I don't know everything, although I'm going to make this topic my final paper, but in my Africana studies, is their spirituality, because it was really in Africa, because Africa, right, that came up with, one God, that we this society, in terms of like, even the pharaohs at that time, it was believed that they were also priests, high priests, right? So they believed that, and again, this goes like with the it trickles down to the monarchy and everything like that, but they're right next to God. So they are basically the conduit of God to the people. But at the same time, the belief in God was that you cut out the middleman. Like, I could just communicate with God. You don't need anything in between. There's no in between. It's just, you and God. And ultimately, you can just speak to God directly. You don't need to go through some other means to be able to speak to God. Now, a movie that's really interesting to watch is, and again, it's on YouTube. It's free. I'm probably going to watch it again. But it's the Book of John, or the Gospel according to John, and it's through John the telling of Jesus. And in the movie, there's a line where Jesus says, "Do not worship me, but my Father." And like again, it was like, in a sense, Jesus was a representative, or yes, there's the Holy Ghost, and it's a huge conversation here, right? But the fact that he said, "Do not worship me, but the Father," it's still like, don't make me the idol. And culturally, if you look at things culturally, when you like American Idol, right? We idolize people, and and so we it's like, I think as humans, even we may kind of fall into that, because if you look at all different cultures and how they believed and worshiped, or there was an idol worship that took place. And so it's not where Western culture made up the concept of one God. It actually came from the origination of belief in God in the first place, which started in Africa. And then you have Maat, which is MA''AT, which also within Maat was the Ten Commandments by Moses. And Moses was a black man. Moses was black. So, maybe we should do a remake with, maybe a young, too bad, it could have been a young Denzel Washington, right? Moses, right? Because that, if you want to be authentic about who Moses was a black man. And I think that's a big deal. Like, think about like what were Jesus's real features. It wasn't. It, who knows? Like, I don't know. I think that the human race, right? And when we talk about, and I've talked about this before on my channel, we talk about like features and skin color and eye color and things like that. But everything that's alive adapts. Survival of the fittest is adapting your survival in your environment. You are surviving in your environment. Like, surviving in like, and you could even equate this to surviving in the social media environment. Like, who's the fittest to survive, the adversary that happens within in that realm, and what is it about that individual that is able to survive in that realm. I'm using this as an example because the terminology of survival of the fittest can be applied in different times. I mean, even during the early turn of the century here in America, Darwinism or social Darwinism, reared its ugly head. And in many ways, there's still people that still believe in that kind of philosophy ultimately. So. That's funny, Pootie Twig. Yeah, Yeshua, Yahweh. Yeah. Libersa says Yeshua and Yahweh replaced with Jesus and God was the word for Baal, God. But they can't change what it means in our hearts. Yes, that is the truth. That is the truth. Okay, so when we talk about, I want to go into the skin color and the melanin. The original humans, according to anthropology, did evolve out of Africa, right? And because of the fact that it's near the equator, the closer you are to the equator, the darker your skin needs to be. Not for skin cancer. It has to do with B folate. And if you are pregnant and you are of light skin and you're not staying out of the sun and you are not wearing sunscreen or whatever, you can damage the fetus because the rays will deplete the folate in the body. And the whole thing about survival of the fittest is getting to where you're of reproduction age. So the darker your skin, the people who had darker skin near the equator were the ones that were survival of the fittest for their environment. Therefore, they were able to reach, the age of reproduction and reproduce. And so you see less of, let's say you wouldn't see light-skinned people surviving at the equator until we had the knowledge of what was going on, right? So the farther you get towards the north, right, getting towards the North Pole and the ice and Iceland and whatever, vitamin D, you need to have light skin to absorb vitamin D. Otherwise you get sick, you get rickets, and you have all these other diseases. So the lighter skinned person was a mutation. And so that became survival of the fittest. So I color everything. The reason why, like, I saw something on Facebook today. It had the eggs. It had a darker egg, a medium colored egg, and a white egg. But when you crack it, it's all an egg. Like, all humans have the same DNA, regardless of what part of the continent our DNA comes from. So I'm just pointing that out. So really, what does it matter if Moses was black? He was still a human. And maybe you have light skin and somewhere in your DNA you are a descendant of Moses. That would be entirely possible. But so it's important, I think, to understand, not only our genetics and the reasons why we are different or stronger in one environment over the other as compared to another human that's living in another environment, right, that they're stronger in. Doesn't really matter, but because we're all human and everybody, if you would change those people that were strong in their environments and flip them around, they may not be so strong. Just like Yeah, I'm going to compare it to social media. Like the social media world is kind of like a world, and there's the metaverse coming, and all these AI applications. And I'm not saying like this is a huge conversation. That's a whole nother huge conversation to to get into. But there is like the survival, of the fittest in it. Now, I guess I should get to the point because I'm rambling a lot with in a detour on something that I do want to share today. Um, First of all, I want to say that it's been really great to unplug from the drama, and it's again right now. There's a lot of things that I want to do that are exciting for me. One is I have an Osmos Pocket 3, and some of the videos that I've been shooting, and I might show a couple of them here before I'm done. I'm starting to edit, and I'm learning different shots and things like of this nature. So I'm gonna make a video talking about things too, kind of like what I'm doing right now, but it would be more specialized. Where you might see me cutting carrots and talking about something, and then the next scene I'm painting my fingernails or walking down the street or whatever, and just taking these different shots. The camera that I got has it's got a magnetic wide lens, which I love. So you can you can increase into a wide lens shot, which a lot of, like you can't really do that with your cell phone. So you can make your shots more professional, more cinematic. It's got a gimbal, like a rotating head. And I'm learning how to, I'm still in a learning curve of how to use the device, but I'm super excited about it. I also have a blog at notmyrabbithole.com. I'm going to start writing things as well. And I'm just telling you what my plans are since I'm, off of spring break, or I'm on spring break. I have been doing a podcast on Spotify, which is also Not My Rabbit Hole. But since I'm taking a podcasting class, I want my podcast to be more professional, like bumper music, something different than doing a live stream or uploading videos on YouTube and things like this. Another layer of, when I originally started my podcast, I, was doing it on my cell phone, or I was doing it, on my laptop. And it was just Not My Rabbit Hole originally was just for me to do a rant, like a 30-minute rant talking about different things. Like maybe like what I'm doing this morning, but just not as, a little more planned than, me having my Folgers coffee crystals and, and during, just sitting here gabbing. Because I love doing this. I love just talking about different things that, might be informative for people, or something that is happening that's relative. For example, the TikTok thing. Like we might not even have it. We might not even have TikTok anymore, which could be a blessing because all of David Schroeder's TikTok videos would be going down. Like I literally thought that like a silver lining in this would be like half of everything that he said will be gone off of social media. And when I talk about, like, again, survival of the fittest in social media, what does that really entail? Does that entail being able to joke about something? Because that's just a joke. I'm not wanting to like poke the tree. Like when I said I wasn't going to get into the drama anymore, I didn't promise that I wasn't going to joke about something because, well, frankly, I am a comedian. All right, I'm never going to get away from that. So I can't guarantee anybody that something's not going to come out in the form of a joke or a line. That's just how it is. So I'm not changing that. All right. Um, but in a sense, the joke is in context to what does happen on social media and how it happens. And that part of it has been very interesting. Not only being able to like observe how it happens, but to actually experience how it happens. Because now, I understand how it feels to, go through a ritual defamation campaign on social media. And, there have been people that, again, this you could happen to somebody who is a PR person for somebody who's part of their super PAC that's running for the presidential campaign. You could be targeted just because you're that. And everybody has this argument like, well, and again, the law is that if you are a ritual defamation is when several I read an article about it on I think it was like one of these Sunday morning live streams. I read an entire article, an essay on what ritual defamation is. And it's when groups of people on their channels or whatever, or on their blogs, will say the same things over and over and over again in order to ruin your character. For example, like in my situation, it was the wig was maybe is an example of what that looks like. It doesn't just come from one web person that doesn't like you or has a problem with you on YouTube. You hear it repeatedly tweeted and said, same lines in several different platforms, videos. That's what that means. And it's orchestrated, and it's done to people that have been, according to the essay, it could be a professor, or it could be, a writer, or, just the person doesn't have to be like super, super high profile, but they just could have some sort of project or influence or threat or something. Well, I mean, the media, might do something. The mainstream media probably does similar things. For example, like if a alternative celebrity, let's say Joe Rogan or something like that, gets popular, or maybe it's Russell Brand or something, you'll see maybe an accusation that about a person, or they'll take information and only get part of the information, or highlight it, frame it in a way that leaves the reader or the viewer to think something more in the way that they want people to. And there'll be certain types of channels or that will crop up in a ritual defamation on a public person. So, it's in a sense, what happens on this level that many people talk about, right? It's kind of the same sort of tactics, only even more rules can be broken, because the established media that has ethics and rules and things like that does still have they can get in trouble, and have gotten in trouble, when they cross the line. And with the mainstream media, that often comes with lawsuits and things like this. It may not be as easy to have lawsuits on groups or collective groups of people that have cropped up in a target or a defamation of another YouTuber. or they or what they might do to you on X, or how and it's not quite as vulnerable, not like if you want to get out of this happening to you, the block button is your friend. But what sometimes they'll do is they'll CC you in their posts, and if it's a bunch of people on purpose, then you're going to see all those things being X'd everywhere until you block those people from your reality. But when they do that, when they group text together, harassment together, it's done on purpose, because it brings it out more together, and it seems more dramatic, because and maybe some of those accounts are bots. They're not even real accounts. So you go, or they're sock puppet accounts. Maybe it's 5 people doing it. But it definitely is a technique. And if you don't understand, if it hasn't happened to you, and then you're not able to pull away from it and look at it objectively and watch the pattern or the way in which it is done. It's like knowledge is power, and understanding how it's being done. And also, one of the things that that I've observed how it's done is a person's name will be dropped, or somebody will come into someone's live stream, or it probably some sort of sock account, right? And they'll come into someone's live stream and they'll drop somebody's name. What do you know about so and so? Or Google so and so, or you need to know so and so. And then you'll see these other talking heads that we're all kind of watching right now. And they will start dropping that name into their conversation. Are you staying with me on this, or did I lose you on that? Because I'm trying to not say certain names, but at the same time, communicate with you who that is. And I had people, they're saying, Google this name, you need to know who this name is. And so I Googled it, and I'm just going to do a quick share screen. That's the name. No, that's not it, right? It came up with something else. Okay, wait a second. But if you go like this, what was the guy's name again? Where did it go? That's the name, right? Or am I wrong? Earlier today, something else came up. Wait a second. Wait. Let me go to my history here. Hold on. I'm gonna play some music. Hold on. Sorry. I'm gonna tune into Epidemic Sound. I should probably give a link. On my tracks. So I don't know. I picked these songs that were more happy. Maybe I'll pick a happy song on it. Let me see. What was I gonna do here? What's this? Okay, I found it. It's Neil Brick, not Nick. So that is the and I'm going to show you what you're going to find. All right. See? Right? I'm going to click onto it. Okay. That's who this is. And I've seen somebody come into Apu's chat and ask that question during his live stream. And he says, I don't know who this is. All right. So he said he didn't know who this is. And it's like, he's irritated by it because it's a name. When you watch things spurt out into a community, right? This name's being dropped. Now think about who's been dropping it. Okay. And yeah, it is connected to David, right? But I'm not going to go into further detail because I don't know any more about it. So, I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, see, I hadn't either. But it's definitely being you like the tune? Let's hear the rest of it for a minute. Hold on. that's a keeper. All right. I didn't know you're in Cuba. _. How fun is that? Wow, that's exciting. So I'm gonna look at what some of you guys are saying. Lanessa, that's interesting that you're saying ghostwriter. I'm hearing, I don't know for sure, but that he was like helped him with the book or edit the book or publish the book. I don't know the exact details yet, but that is something that I'm curious about. Why don't we know him until now? Why is his name being thrown around? Lanessa says, Talking Heads to ha. Oh, the irony. This jam has my baby dancing Terry. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, I was looking for something more fun. I was looking for music. I ended up not choosing that one. But I ended up using, let me find it. I want to I'm not on my Mac right now, so I'm just on my Google Chromebook, and because I like to sit on my bed Indian style, which is like probably not not the best thing to do for my back, or I should say cross. I guess, sorry for saying that, cross-legged, because like everything's like the nomenclature's changed. I really did not mean to be offensive there, I swear. So you might have seen it. I published it a few days ago. I made it. I have an easy bean dip recipe. That was actually a class project. But I'm going to show it. It was for my film class. We had to do a tutorial. And here it goes.
My family cannot wait for my father to make his infamous bean dip every holiday season. It's quick, easy, and inexpensive. And today, I'm going to show you how to make it. You only need these 3 items: sour cream, Fritos bean dip, and Tabasco sauce. First, you want to add an entire container of sour cream to your bowl. Next, you want to scoop out an entire can of bean dip. Then you want to mix it all together. Last, you add Tabasco sauce to taste. And I like mine spicy, so I add a lot. And just stir it until you get a real smooth consistency. Place it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes to chill. Once the bean dip is chilled, serve with the chips of your choice. And now for the taste test. Can't wait. So good.
Okay, so I want to point out too that I'm wearing my mic. That's part of the DJI Osmos Pocket 3. The Creator Kit comes with its own microphone, and you can attach it with a magnet behind it. And so it was my first time using that in my voiceover. I mean, there's some mistakes. Like, I mean, there's some things I learned even with just using the Pocket 3, but that's why I want to do some more shooting so I can get better at it.
Please like and subscribe and share with your friends.
Okay, anyway, so there's that one. And I shot also, like, I did an article. I'm just kind of going through some of the stuff that I did. I did an article for class because I'm in a writing article. So I had to go to a city. The article was on a city council meeting, but I thought I took my my Osmos Pocket 3. So this is like my first shooting or using the device. Sitting, like, I was at the meeting, so I'm sitting like over to the left of the front row with it. But here.
What they're doing for those watching, they are handing out some amazing Girl Scout cookies for folks that came down to the meeting. This is what happens when you come to a council meeting. You get cookies.
Hey guys.
So the annual Girl Scout.
So the man in the blue suit is Council Member Mike Carbasi. And this is like, because it's Women's History Month, this was the first council meeting after the Super Tuesday election. And, they honored, part of the honoring of women was the Girl Scout troop here in the Central Valley. So we'll let it play out.
Program is the largest girl-led entrepreneurship program in the world, selling approximately 200 million packages a season. The program teaches girls to become entrepreneurs and then learn goal setting, decision-making, money management, people skills, and business ethics. So today, March 7th, 2024, we would like to recognize the enormous amount of work and dedication that Girl Scouts of Central California South has helped and shape future leaders across our community in the USA. And the reason why I have asked our council president and our city manager, George Enright, to join us is because they were Girl Scouts as well. And we have a special surprise. Before we present the proclamation to the troop, we have a little surprise for our council president.
As the premier girl leadership organization in the Central Valley, we like to recognize women who champion female leadership. So today is my honor to give special recognition to a very special Girl Scout alum, Annalise Pereira.
So what we're going to do, I want my colleagues, if you wouldn't mind, getting up and putting us down here to do a picture with the Girl Scouts. City manager is doing it for the mayor. I think we just bought your entire batch of cookies. Is that right, Monty? What flavors do we want?
Peanut butter patties.
Peanut butter patties.
Yeah.
Peanut butter patties. That's a good one. And I want to thank Monty for organizing this event and helping the Girl Scouts raise it. Thank you.
So, anyway, and part of, like, and again, that wasn't for any class. I mean, I wrote an article on it, but the footage that I took was just kind of extra that I did. But digital journalism is actually taking footage like that and getting better at it. And capturing things, because, and on a cell phone, I took a mobile media editing class. See, like, everybody's like really interested in this, but somebody might be interested in this that watches this later. A mobile media editing class. And I went to the San Francisco Junior College Journalism Conference. I got invited to it, actually. And part of that at that conference, you enter like into a competition and you want to submit for that competition and everything. And it just so happens that there was a very interesting protest happening down the street, and I shot the footage on my iPhone 14. And one of the other students from the Rampage, we were writers, and the editor and the writers of the Rampage. He edited on CapCut he was using on his computer. So I shot the footage. We were staying at like the Hyatt or something like that, and we all hung out in the editor's hotel room, and we were hanging out, having fun too as well. But we worked on this particular project and tried to submit it before the deadline. Anyways, I want to show that because this is before what's happening right now. All right, this was literally a few months before everything broke out. And when you watch the video, because I'm trying to be careful here, when you watch the video, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
My name is Wasim Haj. I'm with the Arab Resource and Organizing Center based here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today we are here to stand against the escalation of Israeli violence, both settlers and Israeli military against Palestinians in Palestine.
Hold on, I messed up. Shoot. I did not. I wanted to show full screen and it went to that. So let me start it over. Oops. Hold on.
My name is Wasim Haj. I'm with the Arab Resource and Organizing Center based here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today we are here to stand against the escalation of Israeli violence, both settlers and Israeli military against Palestinians in Palestine. In 2023 alone, over 60 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli military or settlers. This marks it as the most deadly year for Palestinians since 2002. We see massacres in Palestine happening in the cities and villages of Jenin, of Nablus, of Hawarra, and we're here to stand against the violence. We're here to say that the Bay Area does not condone and will not stand for the ongoing settler colonial occupation of Palestine by Israel. We support a free Palestine from the river to the sea in all of its parts.
Well, we really do want publicity, and we really do want to get out that there are many Jews in this country who do not stand behind what we think are atrocities happening in Israel.
Today we are here to protest the Israeli treatment of the Palestinian people. The genocide that's going on, that has been going on for a long time, it's not new. This is just the latest round. And we are here to tell people that what happened in South Africa is going on now in Palestine. People will not be free until the Palestinians are free. That's my basic message. And we are all human beings. It doesn't matter if we're Palestinians, if we're Christians, if Muslims, Jews. We're all human beings, and our lives do matter.
So that's what I like doing. Like that's why I have decided to go back to college. Despite all of the criticism that I am getting, and the naysayers and the ageists and all the like. I'm happy that I got that footage. And it's important to show how people feel and what they think and what is happening and how it's affecting us. And I'm not as you see, it's not me talking about it. It's people talking about it. And, digital media our journalism is digital now. And we have devices that we can do it. And, my feeling is like, yeah, I've got class projects and I have things that I have to get done. And sometimes I show my class projects. There are certain projects that I've done that I'm really proud of. One of them, I'm probably going to play for Cesar Chavez Day. Was, I got to work on a documentary, and it was a big deal because my Professor Contreras, put together like an entire history of, the Central Valley's history of the migrant farm workers and their fight for unionization under Cesar Chavez. And that's a big deal here. And, I got to interview a man named Humberto Gomez, and who came to the United States through the Bracero program, where when Mexico and United States during World War II, because we needed workers, made a deal to have Mexican men come over and work in our farms here. And where I live at, Fresno, the Central Valley, farming is a really big deal. We supply a huge amount of food around to the world, really, here in Fresno. We're known for our grapes. We're known for our raisins. We're known for our olives and our figs. And, we're rich with history, not only from Mexicans and the Bracero program, but also Armenian people during their Holocaust migrated, many of them, to Fresno, and they are very much powerful people, really, in positions in Fresno that came here through that migration. So there is a lot of history here. And I was thinking about, I had this idea called Fresno Files, where I would do, we've got some beautiful landmarks, and with my new camera, I'd love to just go to certain places or film history or interview people from, we have a Fresno Historical Society. We have interview politicians, things that are happening right now. The homeless issue here in our mayor is, is pretty much in terms of like the public eye, one of the forerunners in the homeless situation in California, in terms of a lot of the programs implemented that are intended to alleviate or help the problem here and help our real estate and everything else, right? But there's issues with it, and I've been looking into it. That was part of the article that I wrote in my class. By the way, I got 37 out of 40 on it, so I was really pleased. I only lost 3 points, and it was a great experience for me to go to that city council meeting and write that article and make a connection with my council members, and which I did with at least, with some of them. So that's where I want to be headed in my life. And I guess also, like this morning, I want to share that with you. As laughed at as certain people might want to be or whatever towards me in that goal, because I think that I had, some negativity said about what I'm doing and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Well, I just showed you some videos of what I'm doing and where my head is at and what my focus is. I did get a 4.0 last semester, and I did receive a lovely letter from the president, and saying that and that, of course, it's probably, the letter that they send out to anybody who reaches the 4.0 in their semester. It's a standard, congratulations official letter of achieving your academic success that way. And I had 15 units, and I went through this at the same time. And in a way, when I say this, I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. At the same time, it's even that much sweeter for me knowing that I was able to achieve that kind of standard of excellence in my academic performance. And to me, I think that says a lot about me. That means that I would say I'm the survival of the fittest in the social media arena. Like, I didn't go down. I'm not going down. And I think it's like, we're having an eclipse coming, and, the eclipse and everything like that. But, it's like, what happens during the eclipse, right? What do you think about when an eclipse is happening? That kind of, planetary event that is affecting every single one of us in some way, right? And I think that we can become our, what do you call it? When your best self, your max self, your full throttle, what I mean? Like, what if I decided to just go 100% on doing, like, working towards good things, and learning how to shoot that camera and get good footage and make those videos even better and work professionally, or be professional right now on my own media with it, my own media of it at the very least. Journalism and what we do on our channels, what we say, or the words we write, or the X posts that you X, which does never has sound as good as saying tweet. I tweeted that, right? It's like a moment of nomenclature that's gonna cement us in a time period. But that's where it's at, really. Like, the whole thing about TikTok, right? Well, just last year, TikTok was the number one source that people got their news from, let alone dancing old men. So, but that being said, on, my own personal journey in life, I hope to be like an inspiration for anybody that is being told that they're too old, or they're not pretty enough, or they're not smart enough, or they're not this or that, or their opportunity, or whatever. Every day matters. Every time we can do, our possibilities are endless. And how I look at it is like, well, what's act 3 for me? What is that final quarter that I get to experience another eclipse tomorrow and see what happens right now. And am I a person that's involved with it, or am I not involved in it? And what can any of us do to pave, I don't know, like a path of the world that the heaven that we think should be? Like, here's something to like contemplate for a moment that I just want to share with you. Is that if California were to have a catastrophic earthquake, right now, the way our water's set up and how we get our water and the pipes and where they're at, we would lose 70% of our water. And water is our life force. How many people actually, I didn't even know that until I learned it in my geology class. And if for just one thing, just knowing that, I think my education is worth it. So expect things to be different here. Like I thought about something like, what if like just for this entire week we said something good. We did something to make people feel better or have fun or laugh or be inspirational, instead of like reacting to these people out there that clearly many of us who, you know, speak out about it or talk about it or show up in my chat, we know it's not the truth. I mean, if the truth demands us to scrutinize it, to think on our own and say, does this information check out? Anyway, if you've listened to me this far, well, thank you for listening. I'm going to, you know, everybody's like saying, well, you know, if I'm doing a podcast or whatever, I mean, I guess I can like ask for donations. But if you do want to support my efforts, and that would be, you know, I got my first payout on YouTube, and it's $105. And there's this really cool microphone that comes with a headset. It's called Rode. And then you download it. You can do a little equalizer thing and record things right there. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe it's time to sound better, to have a better sound when I do Not My Rabbit Hole on Spotify again, or record whatever I'm going to be recording on my live streams, interviews, which I hope to do again. And yeah, and so I'm going to be doing a video that I'm going to shoot with my Osmos Pocket and upload it here. So, and on that video, I'm going to have in the description, like my recommended list of things to look into or watch. Some of those videos might be from the people that say horrible things about me, but there'll be no judgment on it. It'll just be like, here, this, and this. And you can decide what the truth is or what's really happening. Right? I mean, we see these videos of people saying, well, what group are you in? Or choose your group or that group or whatever. I say don't choose a group. I say take your head out of the group. And I mean, if we're going to like say, you know, like this whole mean, like, oh, we're breaking the matrix and we're seeing everything. Well, then really be fair and see it. Have the grand conversation about it. Because that's what I like to do. Anyway. I'm asking you for not to come into my chat anymore. Okay. And we're going to move on. Bye, everybody. Let me see. I'm going to play a song out.
Save my soul. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. I want to save my soul. Went up downtown. I went up downtown. Went up downtown. I save my soul. I save my soul. I save my soul. I save my soul. Save my soul. Won't you save my soul. Save my soul. Save my soul. Save my soul. Won't you save my soul. Save my soul. Save my soul. Save my soul. Won't you save my soul. 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 Went up downtown. I went up downtown. Went up downtown. I was walking out out one evening late. Moon was rising high, headed for the riverside. Around us fuss and fight.